These men are on the trail of the secrets of water. Using a new measuring technique, they are trying to discover the self-healing powers of mountain streams. The measurement is intended to help improve the quality of our drinking water.
The Secret of Water, such an interesting movie, realized by the German filmmaker Franz Fitzke, first broadcasted in 2004 throughout whole French and German-speaking Europe by the TV channel Arte. If you've seen this movie, there are many interesting questions that arise. The first one, in fact, when you see us walking through this mountain creek with this measuring unit, it's exactly this measuring unit. What does it do? What does this mean for water? We'll be looking at that.
In the water molecule, oxygen and hydrogen are dipoles that attract each other and form so-called hydrogen bonds. This creates whole clusters of connected water molecules. Such a cluster is shown here in a simplified spherical form. However, these clusters can form many geometric shapes. When a foreign substance enters the water, the molecules, or rather these clusters, wrap themselves around it. They envelop it. The Italian atomic physicist Emilio Del Guidice has extended this basic model. Whereas in solid substances, the atoms are in fixed positions. In liquids, this structure has a rhythmic form, as in a dance.
Emilio Del Guidice, he was such a great researcher, not afraid of going into topics that classic science would avoid. Unluckily, he's passed away and not among us anymore. I myself have looked into these models and questions, how this looks and how water interacts with other materials profoundly during the last 20 and more years. And that's one of the topics, one of the clips I will be looking at this in detail. In nature, every substance has its own vibration. And this vibration is very, very fine and subtle. And of course, we cannot hear this vibration. And in quantum physics, there are formulas that enable us to calculate these vibrations very precisely. And I could then transfer this back to the piano analogously. If we now calculate the sound of oxygen, for example, this is of course much higher and it is not audible. If I transpose that back down into the octaves and I'm back in the audible range, then I end up with this sound of oxygen. And carbon, a very important substance in plants, in people, everywhere, is exactly a fifth above that. You could call it a fifth leap. And if I now make another leap of a fifth, I end up here at a tone, and that is exactly the tone of water. Yeah, this section with me explaining on the piano harmonic and non-harmonic structures in water and living organisms. I've already made several videos on this. I've been doing conferences on this, and you can already find these clips on my YouTube channel, and also you can access to it via my website.
Come up with something special. A 400-meter long wire laid at the bottom of the lake emits the electromagnetic vibrations into the water. The intensity is very low, requiring only 2 watts of direct current.
Treating a whole lake only with 2 watt power? How does this work? I'll give you a hint. It might have to do with resonance phenomena. And this lake is only a few kilometers up the hill here from where I'm right now, and we will be looking at that.
Strong and green as they used to be. We can also see that the depth of visibility has improved. We will definitely continue with this experiment, which uses no chemicals and is healthy for nature, flora, and fauna.
And this picture here is a typical picture of a mountain stream.
Yeah, these water drops under a microscope. This is really interesting, and it can tell us a lot about the water quality. And I've been working with this method together with my collaborators for many years. It was really, really helpful. I've been doing a project together with the University of Stuttgart, who has been working on that also for several years and released some papers. We'll be diving into this deeper.
That is very similar to the mountain stream from before.
One really important question to me is the one of scientific intolerance, also mentioned by Emilio Del Guidice. Today, this is of even higher importance. The situation is that many of the professors, deans and scientists are dependent on financing by big companies with their specific interest, and this really reflects on what they are stating. And also this reflects on the outcome of their research work and papers. I'll be making a whole really important video on this topic. The relation between water and its ingredients, specifically the salts and minerals, this is so important for agriculture, to have healthy cultures. How does this work? How can we influence this with electromagnetic treatment? We will be looking at that more in detail.
Why shouldn't sounds that have a beneficial effect on people also have a stimulating effect on water?
Yeah, this is all for right now. Stay tuned, take care, and have a great day. I will go and play just some music.